For years, you thought you were the problem. Too sensitive, too emotional, too much, not enough. You tried to fix yourself. You worked on your flaws. You apologized for existing the way you do. And nothing changed. Because here's what nobody told you. You weren't broken. Your perspective was. One tiny shift in how you look at the situation, one flip of the frame, and suddenly everything makes sense. That person who made you feel small, they're insecure, not superior. That rejection you thought meant you're not good enough, it actually meant you weren't right for that situation. That anxiety you've been fighting is not weakness, it's your body trying to protect you. Welcome to frame flipping, the psychological skill that changes everything. Stay with me for the next 35 minutes, because what you're about to learn will completely transform how you see yourself, your problems, and your entire life. This video is made so you can learn something meaningful before you sleep tonight. And by the end, you'll have a superpower that most people never discover. Let's flip some frames. Imagine you're holding a picture frame. Inside that frame is a painting of a storm, dark clouds, lightning, chaos. You've been staring at this painting your whole life thinking, this storm is terrible. I need to stop the storm. The storm is the problem. Now imagine someone walks up and simply rotates the frame 180 degrees. Suddenly, you're not looking at a storm anymore. You're looking at the same painting, but now you see something completely different. Maybe it's not chaos, maybe it's power. Maybe it's not destruction, maybe it's transformation. Maybe it's not something to fear, maybe it's something to dance in. The painting didn't change. The storm is still there. But your perspective, your frame completely flipped. And now you see everything differently. That's frame flipping. In psychology, we call this cognitive reframing. But that sounds boring and academic. So let us call it what it actually is. The moment when you realize the problem isn't you. It is how you've been looking at it all along. Here's the wild part. Most of your problems are actually problems. They're just situations you've been looking at from the wrong angle. Let me give you a real example. You're at a party. Someone you barely know makes a rude comment about you. You spend the next 3 days replaying it in your head, wondering what you did wrong, why they don't like you, what's wrong with you. That's frame one. I did something wrong. I'm the problem. I need to fix myself. Now flip the frame. That person was insecure and projecting their issues onto you. Their rudeness has nothing to do with you and everything to do with their own pain. You didn't do anything wrong. They're just uncomfortable with themselves. That's frame two. They're struggling with their own stuff. This isn't about me. Same situation. Completely different meaning. And here's what changes. In frame one, you suffer for days. In frame two, you move on in minutes. The situation didn't change. Your frame did. This is what most people never learn. Reality is subjective. Not in a nothing is real philosophical way, but in a practical psychological way. Two people can experience the exact same event and have completely different reactions because they're reusing different frames. You get rejected from a job. Frame one. I'm not good enough. I'll never succeed. I'm a failure. Frame two. That job wasn't right for me. Something better is coming. This is redirection, not rejection. Your partner is being distant. Frame one. They don't love me anymore. I'm too much. They're pulling away. Frame two. They're going through something. This is about them, not me. I can give them space. You feel anxious before a big presentation. Frame one. I'm weak. I can't handle pressure. Something's wrong with me. Frame two. My body is getting ready to perform. This is adrenaline, not fear. I'm excited. Same situations, different frames. Completely different experiences. And here is the thing that's going to blow your mind. You've been using the wrong frame for most of your life without even realizing it. You've been handed frames by your parents, your culture, your past experiences, your trauma, society's expectations, social media. And you've been looking through those frames thinking they're the only way to see reality. But they're not. They're just one perspective, one angle, one way of looking at things. And if that frame is making you miserable, you can flip it. You're not stuck with the perspective you were given. You can choose a new one. Let me show you the most common toxic frames that people carry around, completely unaware that these frames are destroying them. Toxic frame 1. If bad things happen to me, I must be bad. This is the frame where you internalize everything. Someone treats you poorly? Must be because you deserve it. Something goes wrong? Must be your fault. Life is hard? Must be because you're doing something wrong. This frame makes you the center of every problem. And it's exhausting. The flip? Things happen. Most of them have nothing to do with me. I'm not that powerful. The universe isn't targeting me. Sometimes life is just life. When you flip this frame, you stop taking everything personally. And that's freedom. Toxic frame 2. I need to be perfect to be worthy. This frame tells you that you're only valuable if you never mess up, never have bad days, never show weakness. It's the frame that makes you terrified of failure, paralyzed by the possibility of making mistakes, constantly apologizing for being human. The flip? Perfection is impossible. My worth isn't conditional. I'm valuable because I exist, not because I perform flawlessly. When you flip this frame, you give yourself permission to be human, and that's when you actually start growing. Toxic frame 3. Other people's reactions to me define my value. This is the frame where you hand over your self-worth to everyone else. If they like you, you're good. If they don't, you're worthless. You become a people pleaser, a chameleon, constantly adjusting yourself based on what others think. The flip? Other people's opinions are about them, not me. Their reactions are filtered through their own experiences, insecurities, and baggage. I don't need everyone to like me. I need to like myself. When you flip this frame, you stop shrinking yourself to fit into other people's comfort zones. Toxic frame 4. My past defines my future. This frame keeps you trapped. You failed before, so you'll fail again. You were hurt before, so you'll be hurt again. You struggled before, so you'll struggle forever. The flip? My past informed me, but it doesn't control me. Every day is a new opportunity. I'm not who I was. I'm who I'm choosing to become. When you flip this frame, your past becomes data, not destiny. Toxic frame 5. My emotions are problems to fix. This frame makes you see sadness, anger, anxiety, and fear as enemies. Things to suppress. Things to be ashamed of. Evidence that you're broken? The flip? My emotions are information. They're signals, not problems. Sadness means I cared about something. Anger means a boundary was crossed. Anxiety means I'm anticipating something important. Fear means I'm about to grow. When you flip this frame, you stop fighting yourself and start listening to yourself. Toxic frame 6. I should be further along by now. This frame makes you constantly compare yourself to imaginary timelines. You should be married by 30. You should have your dream job by 25. You should have it all figured out. The flip? There is no universal timeline. Everyone's journey is different. I'm exactly where I need to be for my specific path. Comparison is stealing my joy. When you flip this frame, you stop racing and start living. Toxic frame 7. Asking for help is weakness. This frame makes you suffer in silence, struggle alone. Refuse support because you think needing help means you're failing. The flip? Asking for help is courage. It's wisdom. It's knowing that humans are meant to need each other. Independence is an illusion. Interdependence is reality. When you flip this frame, you let people in. And that's when life gets better. Now here's what's important. These toxic frames didn't just randomly appear in your brain. They were installed. Usually during childhood. Usually by well-meaning people who were using the same toxic frames. Your parents might have taught you that asking for help is weakness because that's what their parents taught them. Society might have taught you that your worth comes from productivity because that's how capitalism works. Past trauma might have taught you that vulnerability leads to pain because that's what happened before. But here, that's the truth. Just because a frame was installed doesn't mean it has to stay. You can uninstall it. You can replace it. You can flip it. And that's what we're about to learn how to do. Let me tell you about one of the most famous psychology experiments ever conducted. In 1979, psychologists Ernest Tversky and Daniel Kahneman did something brilliant. They gave people a scenario. Imagine a disease outbreak is expected to kill 600 people. There are two programs to combat it. Program A, 200 people will be saved. Program B, there's a 1/3 chance all 600 will be saved, and a 2/3 chance nobody will be saved. Most people chose program. They wanted the guaranteed 200 lives saved. Then they gave a different group the exact same scenario, but they framed it differently. Program A, 400 people will die. Program B, there's a 1/3 chance nobody will die, and a 2/3 chance all 600 will die. This time, most people chose Program B. They avoided the option where 400 people definitely die. But wait. These are the same options. 200 people saved means 400 people die. It's the same outcome. But the frame changed everything. When it was framed as saving lives, people played it safe. When it was framed as losing lives, people took risks. The situation didn't change. The frame did. And it completely changed the decision. This is called framing effect in psychology. And it proves something crucial. How you frame a situation literally changes your brain's response to it. When you frame something as a threat, your amygdala, fear center, activates. Stress hormones flood your system. You go into fight or flight mode. When you frame the same thing as a challenge or opportunity, your prefrontal cortex, thinking center, activates. You get curious. You problem solve. You grow. Same situation. Different brain activation. Different outcome. This is why two people can go through the same difficult experience and one person is traumatized while the other person is strengthened. It's not that one person is tougher. It's that they used a different frame. Let me give you a real example. Two people lose their jobs on the same day. Person one frames it as, I'm a failure. The economy is terrible. I'll never find another job. My life is over. Their brain, stress response activated. Cortisol flooding. Depression setting in. Motivation tanking. Person two frames it as, this job wasn't serving me anyway. This is an opportunity to find something better. I get a fresh start. What do I actually want to do? Their brain, problem solving activated, creativity engaged, hope maintained, action taken. Same job loss. Completely different neurological and emotional response. And here's the kicker. Both responses are valid. Both frames are true in some sense. But only one frame serves you. Frame flipping isn't about lying to yourself or toxic positivity. It's about choosing the frame that empowers you instead of the frame that destroys you. Because here's what most people don't realize. You're always using a frame. There's no such thing as seeing reality objectively. Every time you interpret a situation, you're applying a frame. The question isn't whether you're using a frame. The question is, are you using a frame that helps or hurts you? Frame flip 1. From I'm not good enough to I'm not ready yet. The difference between these two frames is massive. Not good enough is permanent. It's a verdict about your inherent worth. Not ready yet is temporary. It's a statement about your current skill level. One closes doors, the other opens them. When you catch yourself thinking, I'm not good enough for this job, relationship, opportunity, flip it. I'm not ready yet, but I can become ready. What do I need to learn? That tiny shift changes everything. Now you have a path forward instead of a dead end. Frame flip 2. From they rejected me to we weren't a match. Rejection feels personal. It feels like a judgment on your worth. But here's the frame flip. Rejection is often just misalignment. You apply for a job and don't get it. That's not. They think I'm worthless. That's they needed someone with different skills, experience, personality. You ask someone out and they say no. That's not I'm unlovable. That's not I'm unlovable. That's we wouldn't have been compatible. When you flip this frame, rejection stops destroying you. It becomes information, not condemnation. Frame flip 3. From I have anxiety to I have a sensitive nervous system. Language matters. Frames matter. I have anxiety frames it as a disorder, a problem, something wrong with you. I have a sensitive nervous system frames it as a trait, a characteristic, something neutral that requires management. One makes you broken. The other makes you aware. Same physiological experience, completely different relationship with it. Frame flip 4. From I'm behind to I'm on my own timeline. This flip is crucial for anyone drowning in comparison. I'm behind implies there's a race, that you're failing. That time is running out. I'm on my own timeline acknowledges that everyone's path is different. There's no universal schedule for life. Someone got married at 22. You're 35 and single. You're not behind. You're just on a different path. Someone started their business at 25. You're 40 and just beginning. You're not behind. You have different life experience to draw from. When you flip this frame, you stop racing against ghosts and start walking your own path. Frame flip 5. From why is this happening to me to what is this teaching me? One frame makes you a victim. The other makes you a student. Why me? Keeps you stuck in self-pity, resentment, and helplessness. What can I learn? Shifts you into growth, curiosity, and empowerment. You don't have to be grateful for suffering. You don't have to pretend pain isn't real. But you can look for the lesson while you're in it. You can extract value from difficulty. When you flip this frame, nothing is wasted. Every hard thing becomes raw material for wisdom. Frame flip 6. From I can't to I don't know how yet. 3 little words that change everything. Yet, I can't do this is final. It's a closed door. It's giving up before you start. I don't know how yet is possibility. It's an open door. It's acknowledging that skills are learnable. You're not born knowing how to do anything. You learn. You practice. You improve. When you flip this frame, incompetence stops being shameful and starts being the beginning of mastery. Frame flip 7. From I'm too sensitive to I feel things deeply. Society taught you that feeling things intensely is a flaw, that crying is weakness, that caring too much is naive. But here's the flip. Sensitivity is not weakness. It's depth. It's capacity. It's the ability to experience life fully. I'm too sensitive makes you apologize for existing. I feel deeply makes it a gift, even when it hurts. When you flip this frame, you stop trying to numb yourself and start honoring your emotional range. Frame flip 8. From I need closure to I can create my own closure. This is the flip that sets people free from waiting. Waiting for an apology that never comes. Waiting for an explanation that makes sense. Waiting for someone else to give you permission to move on. Here's the truth. Closure is something you give yourself. You don't need them to apologize for you to forgive yourself for staying too long. You don't need them to explain for you to accept that it's over. You don't need permission to let go. When you flip this frame, you You stop being held hostage by other people's actions and start taking back your power. Okay, so you understand frame flipping now. You see the power of it. But how do you actually do it? How do you catch your toxic frames and flip them in real time? Here's the process. Step 1. Catch the frame. You can't flip a frame if you don't notice you're using it. So the first skill is awareness. Catching yourself in the act of using a frame that's hurting you. How do you catch it? Pay attention to your emotional response. If you're feeling shame, helplessness, hopelessness, victim mentality, stuck, defensive, that's a signal that you're probably using a toxic frame. Your emotions are like a smoke alarm. When they go off, investigate. What frame am I using right now? What story am I telling myself about this situation? Step 2. Name the frame out loud or in writing. Name the frame you're using. I'm using the "I'm not good enough" frame. I'm using the "everyone is judging me" frame. I'm using the "I'm a victim of circumstances" frame. Naming it creates distance. It reminds you that it's just a frame, not reality. Step 3. Question the frame. Is this frame serving me? Is it helping me grow or keeping me stuck? Is this frame true? Or is it just one way of looking at the situation? What would someone who loves me say about this situation? What frame would they use? Step 4. Find alternative frames. This is where creativity comes in. Brainstorm other ways of looking at the same situation, not just positive thinking, not just look on the bright side, but genuinely different perspectives that might be equally true. For example, toxic frame. I'm always alone. Nobody wants me. Alternative frames. I haven't found my people yet. I'm selective about who I spend time with. I'm learning to be comfortable with myself. I'm in a season of solitude that's preparing me for connection. They're all looking at the same situation, being alone, from different angles. Step 5. Choose the frame that empowers you. You don't have to pick the most positive frame. You pick the frame that gives you agency. The frame that makes you the author of your story instead of the victim of it. The frame that opens doors instead of closing them. The frame that allows for growth instead of confirming your worst fears about yourself. Step 6. Practice the new frame. Here's the hard part. Your brain has grooves. Neural pathways carved by years of using the same old frames. You can't just flip a frame once and expect it to stick. You have to practice, repeatedly, consciously, every time the old frame shows up, and it will. You catch it and flip it again. Over time, the new frame becomes automatic. The groove deepens. The new perspective becomes your default. Let me give you a real-world example of this process. You post something on social media and nobody likes it. Old frame, automatic. Nobody cares about me. I'm invisible. What I have to say doesn't matter. Catch it. Wait, I'm feeling shame and worthlessness. What frame am I using? Name it. I'm using the "my worth is determined by external validation" frame. Question it. Is this frame serving me? Is it true that 0 likes means I don't matter? Alternative frames. Timing matters. People didn't see it. Social media algorithms are weird. This isn't personal. I posted for me, not for likes. The right people saw it, even if they didn't engage publicly. Choose. I posted to express myself. That has value regardless of response. Practice. Every time the old frame pops up, remind yourself of the new one. Now, I need to be real with you about something important. Frame flipping is powerful, but it's not magic. It's not a cure-all. There are situations where frame flipping alone won't solve the problem. Situation 1. When the problem is real and external, if you're in an abusive relationship, flipping your frame won't stop the abuse. If you're in a toxic work environment, changing your perspective won't change the environment. If you're dealing with systemic oppression, individual mindset shifts aren't enough. Frame flipping helps you see the situation clearly and empowers you to take action. But sometimes, The action required is leaving, fighting back, or getting help. Don't use frame flipping as an excuse to stay in harmful situations. Situation 2. When you need to process actual trauma. If you've experienced genuine trauma, you can't just reframe your way out of PTSD. Frame flipping can be part of healing, but it needs to happen alongside therapy, support, and genuine processing of what happened. Don't use frame flipping to bypass grief, anger, or the real work of healing. Situation 3. When your brain chemistry is the issue. If you're dealing with clinical depression, anxiety disorders, or other mental health conditions, frame flipping can help, but it's not sufficient. You might need medication. You might need therapy. You might need both. Frame flipping is a tool. It's not a replacement for professional mental health care. That said, here's what frame flipping can do. It can change your relationship with unchangeable circumstances. You can't change that you have a chronic illness, but you can flip the frame from "my life is over" to "I'm learning to live differently." You can't change that someone died, but you can flip the frame from "I'll never be happy again" to "grief is love with nowhere to go." And that's okay. You can't change your past, but you can flip the frame from "my past ruined me" to "my past shaped me, and I'm still becoming." Frame flipping gives you power in situations where you otherwise feel powerless. It doesn't erase reality. It changes your relationship with reality. Here's what changes when you master frame flipping. You stop being at the mercy of your automatic thoughts. Most people are prisoners of their first interpretation. Something happens, they have an immediate thought about it, and they believe that thought is reality. But when you understand frames, you realize that first thought is just one perspective, one angle, one way of looking at it. And if that first thought is making you miserable, you can choose a different one. That's freedom. You stop taking things personally. When you understand that everyone is looking at the world through their own frames, shaped by their history, their wounds, their fears, you realize that most of what people say and do isn't about you at all. Their reaction is about their frame. Their judgment is about their values. Their behavior is about their pain. You can unhook from it. You can let it be about them instead of about you. That's peace. You stop feeling stuck. Stuck is often just a frame. It's the perspective that says there are no options. But there are always options. Always. Even if they're all hard. Even if none of them are perfect. When you flip the frame from "I'm stuck" to "I'm choosing," even staying put becomes an active choice instead of a passive trap. That's empowerment. You stop waiting for someone else to change your life. You stop waiting for an apology to move on. You stop waiting for permission to pursue your dreams. You stop waiting for external circumstances to improve before you can be okay. Because you realize the frame is yours to flip. The perspective is yours to choose. The story is yours to rewrite. Nobody else can do that for you, and nobody else needs to. That's sovereignty. So, here's what I want you to take with you tonight as you fall asleep. The problem isn't you. It's never been you. It's the frame you've been using to look at yourself, your life, your circumstances. And that frame, you didn't choose it. It was installed when you were young, by people who were using broken frames themselves. But now you know. Now you see. You can flip it. You're not broken. You're in progress. You're not behind. You're on your own timeline. You're not too much. You're just surrounded by people who can't handle depth. You're not a failure. You're learning. Same life. Different frame. Everything changes. Tomorrow, when something happens that makes you feel small or stuck or helpless, I want you to pause. Ask yourself, what frame am I using right now? And then ask, is there another way to look at this? One flip, one shift, one new perspective. That's all it takes to begin rewriting your story. You've been given a lot of frames in your life. Some by parents, some by trauma, some by society. But from this moment forward, You get to choose which frames you keep and which ones you flip. Because the frame you use doesn't just change how you see your life. It changes your life. Sleep well tonight, knowing that the way you've been seeing things isn't the only way to see them. And when you wake up tomorrow, try looking at everything through a different frame. Watch what happens.